Feeling ignored? The shocking truth behind why people distance themselves. The weight of being ignored. There is a silent suffering that many of us have endured. The sting of being ignored. One day you are surrounded by friends, your words matter, and your presence is acknowledged. The next you are met with silence. The phone calls stop. The laughter fades. The world moves on as if you were never a part of it. At first, confusion sets in. Did I do something wrong? Did I offend them? Then doubt creeps in, whispering the most dangerous of lies. Perhaps I was never truly important to them at all. It is a heavy burden to bear. Yet what if this experience, the pain of being ignored, cast aside, or forgotten, was not a curse, but a lesson? What if it was the very thing meant to shape us into something greater? The Stoics, those ancient warriors of the mind, understood that pain is not to be feared, but embraced. It is the fire that forges resilience. And in the grand scheme of life, being ignored is not a sign of failure. It is an invitation to mastery. The nature of distancing. Why do people withdraw? The first thing we must understand is this: human beings are inherently fickle. Relationships, like the seasons, change. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Much of our distress comes not from what happens to us, but from the stories we tell ourselves about it. When someone distances themselves from us, our minds race to find meaning. We create narratives, often ones filled with self-blame or resentment. But the truth is simpler and less dramatic than we assume. 1. People change. Their interests evolve, their priorities shift, and their hearts move in different directions. This is not a betrayal, it is the nature of existence. 2. Some connections are meant to be temporary. Not every person who walks into our lives is meant to stay. The Stoics remind us that clinging to impermanence only leads to suffering. 3. Your growth may intimidate others. When you begin to elevate your mindset, your discipline, and your purpose, those who remain stagnant may distance themselves, not because you did something wrong, but because your transformation highlights their stagnation. 4. Most people act out of self-interest. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." If people withdraw, it is often due to their own internal battles, not because of something you did. The Stoic perspective, reframing the pain of rejection. Rejection is a part of life. The question is, will you let it define you, or will you use it to refine you? The Stoics believe that suffering is inevitable, but how we respond to it determines our character. Instead of mourning the loss of attention, we must ask, what does this moment teach me? Lesson 1. The illusion of control. One of the core tenets of Stoicism is understanding what is within our control and what is not. You cannot control whether others value you, listen to you, or stay in your life. But you can control how you respond. Epictetus reminds us, if someone speaks ill of you, do not make excuses, but answer, "He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone." The same principle applies to being ignored. If someone distances themselves, let them. Clinging to what you cannot control only drains your power. Lesson 2. The strength of solitude. Most people fear solitude because they mistake it for loneliness. But there is a difference. Loneliness is a longing for external validation. Solitude is mastery over one's inner world. Seneca wrote, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today." Too often we live in expectation, expecting people to reciprocate our efforts, to appreciate us, to never leave. When these expectations are not met, we suffer. The solution? To expect nothing from others and to cultivate everything within ourselves. Lesson 3. Pain as a catalyst for growth. There is no greater teacher than adversity. Being ignored, abandoned, or disregarded is painful, but that pain is a forge. A true Stoic does not curse the fire, but steps into it, knowing it will shape them into something greater. History is filled with those who were rejected and ignored, only to emerge stronger. Marcus Aurelius, despite being surrounded by betrayals and political enemies, remained steadfast in his principles. Epictetus, born into slavery, was disregarded by society, but rose to become one of the greatest philosophers in history. Seneca, exiled and cast aside, used his solitude to produce wisdom that has endured for centuries. If they could endure and thrive, so can we. The path forward. How to transform pain into power. So what do we do when we feel ignored? How do we take this pain and use it to our advantage? 1. Embrace the gift of solitude. Rather than seeking validation from those who have turned away, turn inward. Use this time to cultivate wisdom, strength, and self-reliance. Read. Meditate. Train your mind as a warrior trains his body. 2. Master emotional detachment. The opinions of others do not define you. Whether they acknowledge your presence or not, your worth remains unchanged. Marcus Aurelius advised, choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. Detach from external validation and ground yourself in inner resilience. 3. Focus on self-improvement. Do not waste energy chasing those who ignore you. Instead, refine yourself. Develop your skills, expand your knowledge, and become the person who does not seek attention but commands respect through their actions. 4. Accept impermanence. Everything in life is fleeting. Friendships, admiration, attention. The Stoic understands that nothing is truly ours, not even the loyalty of others. Once we accept this, we find peace. 5. Shift your perspective. Instead of seeing rejection as a wound, see it as a redirection. Life removes people from our path for a reason, so that we may walk further without the weight of unnecessary attachments. Stand unshaken. The world will continue to change. People will come and go. Some will ignore you, some will betray you, and some will forget you. But none of this determines your worth. A Stoic stands unshaken, not because the world is kind, but because he has mastered himself. When people distance themselves, let them. Wish them well, and continue forward with unwavering strength. Your purpose is not to chase approval, but to cultivate inner excellence. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were meant to be unbreakable. If this message spoke to you, if you seek to forge resilience and embrace true strength, then join us. Like, subscribe, and step forward into a life of mastery. Your time has come.